You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Hi, welcome to Beyond the Headlines. My name is Joyce DeRiga. I'm editor of the Chicago Catholic, the newspaper for the Archdiocese. And this is where we take a closer look at the people who are making the news that we're covering in the Chicago Catholic. And today we have two guests who are in a major story that's in the latest issue of our newspaper. We've got Father Carl Morello, who's the pastor of St. Catherine of Siena, St. Lucy, and St. Giles Parish in Oak Park. And he's also the pastor of, I'm making sure I've got all these, Ascension and St. Edmunds in Oak Park. And then we have Celine Woznica, who's a parishioner at Ascension St. Edmunds. And the story that we were working on was talking to several parishes about what they've been doing to accompany the asylum seekers that have come to Chicago and are in need of housing and some other lots of other things to get on their feet. So they're doing a lot of stuff at these two parishes and partnering with a lot of people. So welcome to you both. And Celine, maybe you can start off. You've been here or there from the beginning, and what all has the parish been doing? And I mean, that's going to be a lot. That's probably half the show. Go ahead.
Well, the parish has been incredibly supportive, but I think it's really important also to point out that this is part of we're part of a larger community, a larger like mutual aid association. My original connection came through the Catholic Worker. I have Catholic Worker connections in Uptown, and when the big surge of migrants came in March, and they were no longer able to stay in the shelters that the city of Chicago was providing, and so when there was no more room in the shelters, the city was putting them in police stations. When they're in the police stations, they get absolutely no support at all. So that's when local community rises up and helps. And so from this Catholic Worker connection, I found out that there were migrants just 2 blocks from the Oak Park border, just 2.5 blocks from one of our churches.
Wow.
From St. Catherine, St. Lucy's, the physical building. And I was able to get involved in it, but then I was able to make the connections to the larger larger parish, the two parishes, and among the many things we're doing, the variety of things of taking up collections, not only for clothing but the purchase of new underwear, socks, T-shirts, bras, things that we don't want to get donated.
Yeah,
and then. When the people are in the shelter, the city does not provide meals for them. There is a Muslim organization that provides dinners, but we're part of a team now that regularly provides breakfast and or lunch. So that's part of it. But the big thing is shower day. And I don't know if Father Carl, if you want to talk a little bit about that. You were there today.
Sure. Shower day. It's hard to imagine, but these migrants who we are trying to help come twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Celine brought this to my attention and said, do you think we could use the shelter for showers for these folks? And of course I said yes, because it's the right thing to do. But can you imagine only twice a week? But I've been there now a couple of times, and it is so heartwarming to see these families, especially these beautiful kids, and come in to just get a shower, a simple breakfast, and to be able to look through clothes and get a clean pair of socks and underwear. It's beautiful.
Can you explain real quick to listeners and viewers what is the shelter?
Yes. When we were united with St. Catherine, St. Lucy, St. Giles, and St. Catherine, Lucy became one parish. The rectory was being underutilized. So there is a ministry still in there run by Connie Rakatan, who helps provide some formation for emotionally, mentally challenged folks. But the rest of the building was underutilized. So Housing Forward approached us and said, could we have a temporary shelter for the homeless here? And we agreed to that. That went so well that we extended that agreement for this next year. So we have a portion of the rectory for a group of homeless people who come on a regular basis each night to stay. And then with Celine's help, she brought all the migrant needs so close by, as she mentioned, 3 blocks away, to our attention. And while we can't house them, we could provide showers for them. And we agreed. She's instrumental in getting it all together. I said yes, she does the work.
Well, I have to admit, Father Carl has learned. I taught him a new word.
Yes.
It's called nag-vocating.
Nag-vocating, yes.
Nice.
Nag-vocating. She's my nag-vocator.
I'm his number one nag-vocator. So, you can imagine the first thing I thought of when I got involved, and I got involved in early May, okay, when the big surge came through the connection for the Catholic worker. And my immediate thought was, where are they taking showers? I just can't imagine the last time they took a decent shower, right? So where are they taking showers? So I called around to some schools in the area, asking, well, maybe they could go into their locker room, take a shower after school. The school said no, but I understand, because the schools have their schedule and they have their priority. So actually the first place that said yes was a wonderful organization in Austin called Build. And Build is a youth serving organization. And they said yes, and what else can we do? They were wonderful. But Build's mission is young people. So when when the schools got out and the summer programming started, they said, I'm sorry, we're sorry, but we can't continue to do this because we don't have the room or the staff to have the Venezuelans coming in and using our showers. So then that's when I nag-vocated to Father Carl.
Mm-hmm.
And he said yes. So we transferred over to St. Catherine, St. Lucy's, and it has gone way beyond just the showers, which makes it so fabulous.
There's a real sense of family coming together there with the migrants, with the volunteers. It's just so heartwarming and beautiful to see. Yeah. It really is. And I don't speak Spanish, Celine does, but I picked up enough to say, hello, how are you? My name is. And it's a wonderful feeling to be able to connect, even in this simple way.
Yeah.
And it's more than that, right? It's
sometimes I'll even.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What?
Go ahead.
So sometimes I'll ask who's smiling most. The kids or the volunteers. So you walk through this in the back of the rectory, which was clearly used to be like a community space.
Mm-hmm.
And on one side we have a table where we just have toys and games and Play-Doh and puzzles and things for the children. And of course, there's volunteers there. A number of the volunteers themselves are retired school teachers. Oh. And I looked at them and said, are you in your happy place? And they said, yes, right? And then along the back wall, we serve breakfast. And we'll have a toaster, so toasting some bagels or some bread and with juice. And they like making like little sandwiches of ham and cheese, and we have fresh fruit and coffee and things like that. And then on the other side, we have a long table, and there we have the donated new underwear and socks and T-shirts. And then in that room, we have donated men's stuff. And then down the middle, we have like a table for people just to sit and enjoy their food. And then in another, what used to be the suite, is the room where we have all the women's and children's donated underwear and clothes. And then, like I described, the suite. So there's just a lot of activity because there
Mhm.
we're eating
Yeah.
and we're playing cards. But a little bit later, I'll tell you what we did today for the first time, which was really fun.
Yes, that's beautiful. And if I could just jump in again to say what I find so exciting about seeing this and being there personally is that this building that was very underused has found a new purpose. And I mean, it's part of the Catholic Church property there. And isn't this what the church should be doing, reaching out to help someone in need? So we've repurposed the space to really put, I think, the gospel message in action. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know we covered that when you opened, and I just think it's such a neat thing that's been born out of Renew My Church, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because these empty
Yeah.
spaces are all around the archdiocese, and if we can figure out
Mhm.
creative ways to use it, and keep everybody safe and all that.
Mhm.
What did you do today, Celine?
Okay. So, as I explained earlier, the city of Chicago does not provide anything, sadly, for the people sleeping in the stations. Maybe in the shelters, but not in the stations. And so, we're part of a larger community that provides meals, but oftentimes I'm talking about the larger community, we donate food that we might think is good, but it's not what the Venezuelans are used to or what they like.
Good point.
So today, again, with Father Carl's permission after I advocated, we got permission to make arepas, which is the Venezuelan food, okay? And one of my colleagues from the police station response team, Kate Nolan, bought all the ingredients, and we went into this directory kitchen, and the women made arepas for themselves
the
and for
migrants.
their
Oh,
children.
wow.
It was so wonderful.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
wonderful. They're happy because they're cooking. They're not just the recipients of
Mhm.
whatever donated food some gringos decide to give them, but they are preparing their own, and they're all talking about it, and they're all sharing, oh, this is my little secret for making this, and they're all talking about it. And then I was thought they were just going to make it to bring it back because we did serve breakfast there, but no, they got these big platters, and they're walking around, and everybody's having like a second breakfast, and then they made sure that all the volunteers had some. But the most wonderful thing was the ability for them to make their own food, their own national food, and then share it with their own family members.
100%. I mean, they've been on the road for how many months that it took them to get to the border, and then they come here, and like you said, there's no control. And like Father, even what you said, just taking a shower, you mentioned, and you mentioned this in the interview for the story too, is that we take showers every day, and we just take that for granted.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they don't, the simple things in life
Mhm.
they don't have right now.
Yeah. And I was thinking that it's such a universal thing, despite language, having a shower, having clean clothes, having some food. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It's a universal thing that everybody needs basic care. And I think they really sense that we care for them. We care about what's happening.
Awesome. Okay,
There's so much
go ahead.
more
I'm sorry.
that you can do,
Yeah, go ahead.
but we're limited.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we can talk about some more, because you guys are adopting a family too, right, through Catholic Church. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and everything else. So, all right, don't go away.
Catholic Charities After Supper Visions program offers guests of our Tuesday night supper the opportunity to learn the art of photography. These talented guests, who are often experiencing homelessness, are offered disposable cameras, and they work with volunteer professional photographers to learn the basics of taking photos. Then, the artists go out and capture images on film of anything they find to be beautiful or interesting in the world. Meet the artists and see their extraordinary photos at this year's After Supper Visions photo exhibition on Friday, September 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. in Vincent Hall at 721 North LaSalle Street. That's Friday, September 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. Visit After Supper Visions for more information. At After Supper Visions, we are developing film, talent, and hope.
This is year 44 for me teaching. When I started here, there were teachers here that had taught me when I was a student. Now I'm the old person. Right now, I teach junior high math. I love when kids find what I'm teaching to be fun and they get it. I see that light bulb go off and it's a thrill. People are always amazed. What? You're here for 44 years? It's hard for me to believe, frankly. I love what I do. Every summer I think, oh, I miss the classroom. Even on the weekends, I think I can't wait to get back on Monday and teach those quadratic equations.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. My name's Joyce DeRiga. I'm editor of the Chicago Catholic. Before we go back to our guests, I want to just plug some stuff in the newspaper. You can always visit us online at chicagocatholic.com and see the latest of everything that's in the issue. You can see what Pope Francis is up to and Cardinal Cupich regularly writes, and you can see the good news of things that are going on in the parishes, one of which is the story we're talking about today. You can also sign up for our free e-newsletter that we send out about 3 times a week, and follow us on social media. And if you'd like to subscribe, it's $30 for a year. We publish about every 2 weeks, and that goes to support our ministry of sharing the good news around the Archdiocese. So back to the story that is in this newspaper issue. We have Celine Woznica and Father Carl Morello from parishes in Oak Park. That's St. Catherine of Siena, St. Lucy, St. Giles, and St. Ascension and St. Edmund, and they've been doing some wonderful work with migrants. I was just thinking, Celine, during the break, that I'm just envisioning the arepas. That's pretty amazing. So you've also helped settle some families, and you've got the grant from Catholic Charities, the Family Sponsorship Program, where you get $10,000 to help accompany. Can you talk about the work you've been doing there?
Yeah. Well, again, through the Catholic Worker Connection, I became aware of a family that had arrived in the Catholic Worker in Uptown. And Catholic Worker mission is hospitality, but they did not have the facilities to host for long-term a family of 4. So, you can connect with a willing community, and the Catholic parishes of Oak Park said, yes, we'll do it. So we got together and we were able to bring the family into Oak Park. We actually rented an apartment for 3 months, but we got that apartment with a 3-month contract, which they never do, again through a parishioner who owned the building, who gave us a 3-month contract. And then another parishioner said, my wife and I have a basement apartment that we're not using, and it's fully furnished. We just keep it for family when they come, and they're welcome. So we were able to bring this family in They've been living with us as part of our community since, well, in October, they moved to Oak Park. Yes, in October of last year. So almost just a short of a year. And we've enrolled them in Oak Park schools, and we helped them get settled here. I'm going to be honest with you, it's very easy. It's very easy to resettle them because they are a self-selected population that can traverse 3,000 miles through 7 countries, through the Darien Gap, through the jungle, across the deserts, across over the mountains, and make it. Navigating Chicago is like nothing, right? So that family is doing very well, and we're now in the process of finding them their own apartment, and encouraging them to move on. In the meantime, we did apply, and we received the grant to assist another family. We have met that family. It's a beautiful family with an 18-month-old little girl. They're currently in a shelter down in South Chicago.
Okay.
And we are moving as quickly as we can to find an apartment that is a reasonable rent in either in the Oak Park area or maybe in Cicero Berwyn, or because it's good to be in more of a Spanish-speaking environment. You go out and go to the store, and But in the meantime, the Scalabrini Immigrant and Refugee Services, which are providing social services during shower day for us, they alerted us to a family of 5 that they're aware of. They're living in unstable housing in Melrose Park, and they asked us if, I guess they advocated, but anyway, they asked us if we could help out this family as well. And we prayed about it, we reflected, we just. And yes, we said yes. And then we asked Catholic Charities if we could get an additional $10,000 for the second family. So so now we're in the process of looking for apartments, and people are coming through and say, well, I've got this and this that I could donate. And we've got such abundance that it's going to happen.
Yeah. And I want to add to that people see what's happening here, parishioners and all. So we're 2 newly united parishes with 4 sites still. And what the work of Celine and Margie have done really is to bring all of this together, all the people together with a focus on this kind of service and ministry. And personally, I really believe that having this center at St. Catherine, St. Lucie is a way of getting people back to and into the church, so to speak, because we're doing something really positive and helpful. When you're serving others, how can you not want to be a part of that? And people have been generous, as Celine has said. A man the other day called me and said, my family wants to give a $2,500 check to the migrant ministry happening. It's amazing. Things like that are happening on a regular basis. It's beautiful.
That is amazing. And can you speak to this, to why it's important that we as Catholics do this? I mean, it seems like it's the Beatitudes, right? Like, the corporal works of mercy. Go ahead.
It is, but I think the thing for me that stands out always in my mind is Matthew, 25, where Jesus says very clearly, "Whatsoever you do for the least, you do for me." And I just use that with folks because not everybody is always thrilled, because the migrant issue can become a little bit political.
Sure.
And I say this is not about politics. This is simply responding to who we are as Catholics and Christians, the gospel message says. And then there's not really much of an argument.
Yeah, I agree. And for folks who are listening or watching, I'd encourage you to go to ChicagoCatholic.com and read this story, because we just talked to 3 parishes. The story was so long, I ran out of room. I had to cut one of the parishes, and there are at least, Catholic Charities says, about 23, 24 parishes out there doing stuff, and you're helping multiple families. And it's possible. It's completely possible to do this. And I'm hoping that people will read the story and see the photos and be motivated to do more, to take on these kinds of things and to help these folks, you know.
Mhm. I would hope so as well. But for me personally, and I think for the community, it's been a very positive experience. It's kind of it's been a uniting factor, actually. We have one place where we have a focus on ministry and service, and people are pulling together to recognize who we are as one. You know, we're separate parishes still, but we are an Oak Park Catholic community and beyond that we serve.
Absolutely.
Can I add something else?
Please.
I really want to also bring out the interfaith aspect of this.
Sure.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful. It is so wonderful because now maybe I'm revealing a little bit more too much of my age, but I do remember pre-Vatican II. Okay, I do remember when we couldn't even enter into a Protestant church. We couldn't go to the wedding of a friend of a family member. I was a little girl, but I remember my parents saying, "Well, we can't go to the wedding because it's in a Protestant church, but we can go to the reception," right? We didn't even take swim lessons at the YWCA for fear of indoctrination or something. I don't know. But now, in what was formerly a rectory that was probably built during this period of time, we have this incredible ministry that gets people from the Unitarian Temple, from Pilgrim Congregational, from Euclid Methodist, from First United, from the Jewish community. It is such a celebration of our common humanity, no matter what religion. And today, by total coincidence, we also had a volunteer who happened to be staying at my house, who is here to attend the World Parliament of Religions.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
he's from Kenya. Okay?
Wow.
And so that's how interfaith this has become.
Well, and if I can add I'm always looking at the spiritual side of all this. You're so right, Celine. You know, if you take a glimpse of that, it's like this is heaven in a way. I mean, heaven has got to be a place where everybody is welcome, and we're seeing a glimpse of that in the work that's being done there and the bringing together of all these folks.
That's
And
wonderful.
then, the same thing, we are all going to work together because we're a larger network. So we kind of find out and it says, well, our church is thinking about also sponsoring a family. Great, let's work together, because if you get a lead on an apartment, or if we have some extra furniture, or whatever it'll be, we can help out. So we're forming a network to do not just the showers, but to do the work of accompanying a family, the families.
Wonderful.
So
We're
can I
almost
add?
we're almost out of. We only have like 30 seconds. So go ahead, Father.
Okay. Celine says she's a NAGvocator, and she does, but it doesn't take much to NAGvocate me, because I say yes all the time, because what they're doing is the right thing. Thank you.
Amen. So we'll be praying for you guys and keep on doing what you're doing. And for folks who are listening, check out their story and photos at chicagocatholic.com. And until next time, you have a gentle and joy-filled day, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.